Hey y'all, welcome back to yet another installment of
Coffee
and Tea
with the County. We are getting our rhymes down though, and actions.
We're trying.
I know, we need to do like the teapot. I'm a little teapot, short and stout. Okay, I like it.
Short and stout.
It'd be much more functional if we had tea though, that
Yeah.
we walk around with
Right.
internally.
Right.
We'd never need refills.
No.
Yeah, it'd be great. Somebody invent that. Okay, so again, the background has changed, and we are in the railroad and Hamburg section of the main floor of the Aiken County Historical Museum. And behind us, we've got artifacts related to the railroad, and the railroad that we're talking about specifically is the Charleston, South Carolina to Hamburg, South Carolina Railroad, often known as the Charleston to Hamburg. It was beginning to be constructed in 1830, and the engineers who were hired to build the railroad carved it across basically kind of lower southeast South Carolina and stayed close to the river area, the river regions, and then came up to Aiken and really literally founded Aiken, because Aiken did not exist as a city until the railroad came to this area. And we were named Aiken after the president of the South Carolina Canal and Railroad Company, whose name was William Aiken. So that's where we got our name from, is the fact that the railroad came through here and our city was designed because of it. So, cool facts for Jeopardy! You're welcome. With that, I will start off with Leah, if you would like to tell us about your favorite thing. And we're going to pause for a sponsored break. Kidding. Pause for just a minute while we move over to that area of the exhibit.
Thank you. Thank you for following me over to this side of the room. I am going to be showing you my favorite item in this section of the exhibit. And because I'm a 12-year-old, it's a toilet. So as you can see, please don't touch. But this is a commode. It was a flush commode that came from the collection of John May. This was used on railroad sleeper cars. Now, this is a really, really pristine selection here. I'll show you the inside. And this right here, this is your flush. So it says pull up, so you would have pulled up to flush. And it was patented June 15th of 1869. Now, when you would have pulled up to flush, the train would have been moving. This would not have been done when you were standing still. So it would have flushed down onto the tracks. Sorry about your luck, anybody that happened to be near or coming by afterwards. Mm-hmm. And then at the end of your trip, then of course maybe your Pullman porter would have cleaned this up for you, and it would have been prepared for the next leg of the trip.
And here I am over on the Hamburg side of the exhibit, all alone, because someone doesn't want to get, too close to me, and I can't blame her right now. But anywho, so behind me is our exhibit on Hamburg, the town of Hamburg, which is near modern-day Augusta, North Augusta, but it preceded North Augusta. So in 1821, a German immigrant named Henry Schultz, basically for various reasons, including the state of Georgia taking his toll bridge away from him, became very embittered against Augusta and Georgia. And he went to the state capital of Columbia in South Carolina and requested a charter to start a new city right across the bridge from Augusta. And his intent was to steal all the trade from Augusta and keep it in South Carolina. So that's why the Charleston to Hamburg Railroad was built, is to steal the trade that was normally going down the Savannah River from Augusta to Savannah and being unloaded. They would unload the cotton and the agricultural products and things like that. So instead, Henry Schultz's goal was to take all the farm goods that were up in Edgefield District that were coming down through the Hamburg area and into Augusta, and have them stop at Hamburg, load on the rail cars instead of the slower steamboats, and then have everything shipped down to Charleston, which would then get all the taxes, which of course the politicians lauded him for, gave him the charter. He had the town built in like 2 days. But what I love in this exhibit is an artifact we have, and this shows the town of North Augusta today. I know it's a little bit hard to see. Sorry, y'all. You're probably seeing more of your reflection in the phone than the map. But here are the bridges across into North Augusta from Augusta. And you can see, you'll have to come in person, you can see the layout of the town of Hamburg over the current river golf course. So the river golf course that's sitting down there in North Augusta basically has the town of Hamburg underneath it. So if you're ever playing golf out there and you go into, whoa, Leah, you're here! She magically appeared, y'all. Awesome.
Actually scared me.
So if you're playing golf out at the river golf course and you get into the sand dune and you hit something with your chip wedge or your sand wedge and it's a piece of pottery or something, don't worry, it's just from the town of Hamburg. So yeah.
Bring it to us.
Yeah, exactly. No, don't. We've got enough pottery shards to fill buckets. Okay, so but the town of Hamburg, of course, has a sad story because obviously it no longer exists. And the sad story is that Henry Schultz was constantly in and out of debt, in and out of trouble. He was branded on his thumb for committing murder, so he was branded with an M. Yeah, they did that back then.
On the thumb, though.
On the thumb, on the meat of the thumb, right here.
Oh, when you were extending your hand to shake someone's hand.
Yeah, they would always see the M, so they knew you were a murderer.
Ooh.
Yeah. So he was convicted of murder and he had his thumb branded, the meat of his thumb here, branded with the letter M. So for manslaughter.
Wow.
Yeah, I know, creepy. So he was an interesting individual. You should read more about him. There's lots of cool stories about him. But he dies in 1851, penniless, of course, as most developer entrepreneurs, who have these big ideas, but maybe not all the follow through, sometimes do. And so he was still so mad at Augusta, though, for taking his toll bridge and, basically pulling his finances out from under him with that his last request was to be buried standing straight up with his back to Augusta. We've never confirmed that. Nobody's ever found his grave. We don't know where he was buried, but that was his request. He wanted to be buried standing straight up with his back to Augusta. So forever and eternity with his backside to Augusta. Kind of cool dude. Cool story. But anywho, come here to learn more about Hamburg and the railroad that brought trade and prosperity to Hamburg for while it existed. Other cool stories about Hamburg are the fact that after the Civil War, it became a freedmen's town, where some of the founders of Aiken County lived, and then it was swallowed up basically by the Great Flood of 1929. So lots of cool history here to learn, and who knows, maybe somebody will magically appear on camera with you. So yeah, you lucky devils, you. So we hope you had a good time learning about the railroad in Hamburg, and we'll see you later.
Next time.
All right, bye y'all.